Good morning. What an incredibly good day for me to be working on step two. Step two. Been going since 6 a.m. Yeah, that's all laundry that I've done hanging up behind me. I got my other load in the machine, so you probably hear that right now. It is 9 o'clock, so I've already been at this 3 hours. Got up and my back went. That's fun. A great day for me to be doing step two, and thank you for letting me complain a little bit there. So before we move into step two, though, before we get down that road, we have to have step one. And I don't want to go back to yesterday. I don't want to, beat that bag anymore. But it's imperative to understand that in this volume, in these books, in these pages, it's imperative that we've hit that bottom, that we've come to that place where we're ready, willing, and able, and we're teachable. And Bill writes about that in these pages when he discusses the idea that without step one, click, done, move on. Steps 2 through 12 really don't matter. I mean, they're not going to be beneficial. We have to be in that place where we've been beaten down. And I hate to say it that way, but that's the best way for me to communicate the idea. From my experience, we're beaten down, we're broken, we're teachable, we're humble. We've completely accepted the problem is ours, that we are completely unmanageable, and we've arrived at this place broken. And from that perspective, we can become teachable. In that place, we can move to step two. And step two is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. My first talking point here actually comes, I think, from page 31. But before I got to that, I wanted to touch on the little photo that I hopefully included correctly at the beginning of the video about John Barleycorn, because in that idea we find the importance of getting to step one and getting step one kind of completed. So allow me to read that to you, just to touch on it. It's page 23 in current edition, at least my edition of the 12 and 12, page 23, step 1, and it's down toward the bottom, and it begins right here. To the doubters, we could say, perhaps you're not an alcoholic after all. Why don't you try some more controlled drinking, bearing in mind what we've told you about alcoholism? This attitude brought immediate and practical results. It was then discovered that when one alcoholic had planted in the mind of another the true nature of his malady, that person could never be the same again. Following every spree, he would say to himself, maybe those AAs were right. After a few such experiences, often years before the onset of extreme difficulties, he would return to us, convinced he had hit bottom as truly as any of us. John Barleycorn himself had become our best advocate. From my perspective, from somebody 25 years in, and I'm going to say that again, 3 generations, second in recovery, that is some harsh reality, friends. It is paramount to saying, here you go drink, off you go, go get yourself hammered, get yourself right and tight, and let me know how you make out. And if you're with a loved one, if you're a wife, a mother, a child, and you're the people that you're going to for help are sending your loved one out onto the streets to have another bend, I mean, you've got to be horrified with that idea. But this is the reality. This is the reality of our founders and what they were up against, because they knew as good as us, those people that are here in the deep water, 10, 15, 20 years on, what have you, they knew it didn't matter. It didn't matter in the long run. If somebody wasn't ready, they're not going to get it. And more often than not, setting them loose with their own addictions is the only means to an end. Forcing it upon somebody never gets those results. So, again, quite often John Barleycorn was our best advocate. It's a harsh reality, friends, and it's nothing I guess I should be laughing at, but it's a reality that I've come to know in my own experience, that without step one, step two really doesn't start to do its work. So I'm going to go back to the book here, I guess, and I'm going to pick up on my next talking point here. And it's the first one that I highlighted here. It's on page 31 in the 12 and 12. And it's right toward the top. And it reads, as psychiatrists have often observed, defiance is the outstanding characteristic of many an alcoholic. So it's not strange that lots of us have had our day at defying God himself. Sometimes it's because God has not delivered us the good things of life which we specified, as a greedy child makes an impossible list for Santa Claus. And I think in that we find the spirit of step two. Bill goes on to write to the agnostics, to the militant atheists, to those religious zealots who believe they know God better than anybody. He encompasses all of these ideas and all of these individuals in the pages of the 12 and 12, speaking about step two specifically, because I believe anyways, my own opinion, that Bill was passionate about spelling out the idea to everybody that they had encountered at that point. As they talk about in the forward in the introduction, for them at this moment in history, there's 18 years of explosive experience that they've brought together and brought to bear on the pages of these books. So they've seen the atheists, the agnostics, those religious zealots who believed they knew God, the people in between who maybe had faith and then lost it, or had faith and were jaded by the time they hit the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. They had seen all of them. And to that end, he wanted to address the idea of belief in a power greater than ourselves, as found in each one of these cases. However, for me, I thought the most fascinating one is one that we often hear around the tables even to this day, and it's right here in the 12 and 12, when they talk about AA itself as the higher power. I believe I wrote down here page 27. Page 27, the 12 and 12, that idea is planted for all of us. And I think in a roundabout way, that's probably what happens for most of us. We get to the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous and we're completely broken. Having achieved step one, or understanding the importance of step one, we move into step two, and then we come to a place where the idea of God just doesn't sit well for us. And I think that's the case for most of us. And so whether we recognize that moment or not, whether we realize it or not, AA itself, the people, the rooms, the program, the free coffee, the donuts, the conversations after the meeting, the coffee shops before the meeting, what have you, this becomes the power that's greater than us. Here we find people that are doing exactly what we want to do. They're recovering. They're gaining their lives back. They're becoming versions of themselves that they never even realized. And to that end, the reality of the power of this program lands upon us. I believe that for me personally, my journey is spelled out in these pages 100%. I see myself in the agnostic. I see myself in that faithful person who firmly believed I knew God. I see myself in the atheist. I see myself in each one of these people that Bill describes. And I think that if we're diligent and we're working away on a daily basis, a year happens and it's an explosive experience. 2, 5, 10. We begin to see ourselves in all of these pages. We begin to recognize that Bill was writing about us. We are those agnostics who just don't know, but we scream for knowledge. So in some instances that defiance kicks in and we absolutely know, but then we learn we don't. I hope I'm trying to, at the very least make some sense here, because step 2 for me was something that I blew past in the earliest days, but I've come to realize has been so intrinsic. It was the moment that, having accepted fully for the first time in my life that I was completely powerless over the person I had become, that those addictions or the alcohol itself or those behaviors, they had such control over me, and the insanity of returning to that way of life time and time again was just impossible for me to avoid. And once I connected to that and I understood that powerlessness, coming to this power greater than myself that had been in front of me my whole life, it was so moving. And in that place, and I love how Bill talks about this, that we don't have to, I've written it down here, we don't have to swallow all of step 2 instantly. And I'm paraphrasing, we don't have to completely buy in to step 2 100% at the beginning. Bill even writes that he took it piecemeal as he looked back, and I mean, this is from 18 years Bill's writing this book, 18 years in. He took it piecemeal himself. We don't have to buy in 100%. All we have to do is, and I love how he writes this, we have to, and I'm going to paraphrase, we have to resign from the debate committee. And it's so perfect for our day and age of Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds and social media comment sections and the ongoing debates and divisiveness that exist in our world today. If we can resign ourselves from the debate committee and just stop the debate, stop the argument, and just accept, yeah, I got a problem. There's no question about it. My life's out of control and I need help. Facts. Is there something more powerful than me that can help? Absolutely. It's right here in these rooms. And these people, they're doing the thing that I want to do. This is a power that's more than I am, without question. If we can resign ourselves to just that, maybe we find faith. Maybe we find a little bit of hope that, hey man, there's something here. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm willing to find out, and I'm willing to do the work. There's step 2. for me at least. And I hope it's that simple for the next person. Um, I had a lot more talking points lined up. I really did. Um, but I'm not going to beat this one up, man. It looks like I'm 15 minutes in, and I don't want to bend your ear too much today. So I'm going to watch this back. This is the third time I hit the record button today, so I'm hoping this one sticks. I made it this far, so I'm hoping this one sticks, and I'm hoping that I did this one some justice today. So thanks, guys. My machines are winding down, so I've got one more load to do, and maybe I should get that tens machine on my low back today. I don't know. Anyways, it works if we work at friends, and I love you guys, and I am cheering you on. I'm hoping this one was okay. Take care, guys. Bye.